Poland brought 4. Colombia, Australia, Puerto Rico, Canada, the Czech Republic all showed up. The women's 400 meters is loaded. When that gun fires, Natalia Bukowiecka storms out front, Evelis Aguilar right on her heels. But this race is far from over. Who takes it? Justyna Gaka, Poland, out in lane 9. Amila Rowe of Australia in lane 8. Just 18 years old, her first race in the Northern Hemisphere this season, and she's already turning heads. Gabriella Scott of Puerto Rico takes lane 7. She's run 51.06 this season, but she's a 50.5 athlete when she's right. The talent is there. Evelis Aguilar of Colombia in lane 6, 32 years old, running the best 400 meters of her life this year. Natalia Bukowiecka of Poland into lane 5, and she's the name everyone's tracking. 2-time Olympic relay silver medalist from Tokyo. She was second in Doha just weeks ago, clocking 50.92, and she's one of Europe's best individual 400-meter runners. Justyna Swiety-Ersetic, another Polish standout in lane 4. Former European champion, running right around 51 seconds this season. She's very much in this. Lauren Gale of Canada in lane 3, right around 51 seconds this year, but she's a 50-flat athlete at her best. Good lane draw for her. Lada Vondrova of the Czech Republic in lane 2. Former European under-23 champion, one of the most technically sound runners in this field. And Anastazja Kus of Poland in lane 1, just 18 years old, and she already ran leg 3 for Poland at the World Indoors in Nanjing, where they took silver in the 4x400 relay. Her season best is 53.06. But she's run 51.8. That's a serious ceiling for a teenager. Nine women, 1 track, 400 meters. The blocks are set, the lanes are locked in, and the tension inside the stadium is real. Poland has 4 in this final, but when the gun goes, none of that matters. Every woman out here is running for herself. Bukowiecka is the favorite, but in the 400 meters, the race doesn't care about favorites. One bad bend, one moment of hesitation, and the whole thing changes. The crowd knows it. These athletes know it. This is what they came for. They're off. Bukowiecka pushes hard out of lane 5 right from the gun, attacking the first bend and moving up alongside Aguilar of Colombia. Scott of Puerto Rico is running well out wide in lane 7. Composed and powerful through the curve, Bukowiecka holds the front through the back straight, running with authority. Swiety-Ersetic has dropped off in lane 4 and she's got work to do. Gale of Canada, though, what a race from lane 3. Scott pushes past Gaka in lane 9. Bukowiecka is managing this perfectly. Into the final straight, and Gale starts to feel the distance. She's given everything through the first 300, and now Bukowiecka moves through cleanly in lane 5, pulling away from the field. Behind her, it's a fierce battle for the remaining places. Natalia Bukowiecka wins it. She crosses the line first, and the clock reads 50.44, a huge season's best. Gun to tape, she ran this perfectly. That time tells you exactly where she is right now. Bukowiecka throws her arms wide, soaking in every second of this. The crowd is on its feet. Poland's champion, and what a run it was from start to finish. Pure joy. Arms raised, pointing to the sky. The scoreboard confirms it, 50.44, a massive chunk off her season's best. She's been building toward this all year, and tonight she delivered. That time puts her right up around 15th in the world rankings this season. Watch this in slow motion. Out of the blocks, Bukowiecka's reaction is sharp. She doesn't wait for the race to develop. She goes after it from the first stride. Through the first bend, look at the balance. Shoulders relaxed, arms driving clean, body upright all the way through the curve. That posture is the foundation. Coming off the bend, she applies pressure, controlled and measured, never panicking, just steady. And here's the moment that decides it. At 250 meters, when Gale starts to fade and the others begin to tighten up, Bukowiecka does the opposite. She stays fluid, she opens her stride, and she pulls away through the final straight. One of the features of her racing is how she spreads her strength across the full distance, and that last 50 meters shows it. Everyone else is tying up. She's still running. That's the difference between a good 400-meter runner and a great one. Bukowiecka didn't wait for the race to come to her. Out of lane 5, she pushed into the first bend immediately, moving up alongside Aguilar of Colombia before they'd even reached 100 meters. That's a deliberate choice, not instinct. In a 400, most athletes with her credentials would sit, watch, let the field set the tempo, then make their move at 250 or 300 meters. She went the other way, and by the time they hit the back straight, the race was already being run on her terms, not anyone else's. The decisive moment wasn't the finish line, it was somewhere around 250 meters on the back straight, when Bukowiecka held her position and her mechanics while Swiety-Ersetic in lane 4 started losing contact with the leaders. At that point, the only real question was whether Gail of Canada could sustain what had been a genuinely aggressive first 300 meters from lane 3. She couldn't. When Bukowiecka moved through cleanly into the final straight and the gap opened, the clock was going to read something fast. It read 50.44. That's where the race was decided, not at the tape. There's a specific technical quality to how she runs the first bend that separates her from most of the field. Shoulders relaxed, arms driving clean, body upright through the curve rather than leaning aggressively into it the way a lot of 400-meter runners do when they're trying to carry speed off the turn. That upright posture preserves her mechanics for the back straight. She arrives at 200 meters without having spent extra energy fighting her own body through the curve. A lot of athletes bleed time and strength on that first bend without even knowing it. Bukowiecka doesn't. She banks it. Then she uses it across the back, straight, and into the final 100, where the race opens up and she can extend rather than survive. That's not a natural gift, or not only that. It's the product of years running the 400 as a relay specialist for Poland before she fully committed to the individual event. Relay runners learn curve mechanics the hard way, because a bad bend in a relay leg costs your team, not just yourself. She ran both relay legs in Tokyo, helping Poland to silver in both the 4x400 events. That background built the technical foundation she's now using to win individual races. A relay background sharpens you differently than individual racing does. That's what you're watching when she holds her form at 200 meters while others start to tighten. Gail of Canada deserves specific mention here because she ran an aggressive race and it nearly worked. She pushed hard from lane 3 through the first 300 meters, staying in contact with the lead group and running controlled, and it only cost her in the final straight when the distance finally caught up. That's not poor judgment. That's the calculated risk you take when you decide to race Bukowiecka rather than just finish behind her. The 400 meters punishes aggressive front running in the last 80 meters almost every time, but it's also the only tactical option if you're trying to beat someone who's in this kind of form. Gail read the race correctly and still lost. That's a different outcome than losing because you got it wrong. Swiety-Ersetic is the more complicated story. She came in as a former European champion, running around 51 seconds this season, and she lined up in lane 4 with a clear sight line on Bukowiecka from the gun. She dropped off the pace through the back straight and never recovered. For an athlete of her experience and credentials, that's a result she'll want to examine. Scott of Puerto Rico, running wide in lane 7, was composed and powerful through the curve and pushed past Gaka on the outside, which was the right race for someone in her lane position. Aguilar of Colombia started near Bukowiecka through the first bend but couldn't stay there. Vondrova, Rowe, Kus, none of them factored in the back half of the race in a way the narrative captured, which tells you Bukowiecka's margin was real, not cosmetic. To put 50.44 in context, that's a significant drop from the 50.92 she ran in Doha just a few weeks before this. Dropping nearly half a second across back-to-back performances in a short window suggests she's on an ascending curve right now, timing her form correctly through the season. The year before, she was running 52.8 in Paris. The improvement over 12 months has been steep. That kind of drop across a single year, from 52.8 to 50.44, is not a gradual grind. Something clicked, either technically, tactically, or in terms of how she structured her season. The global 400-meter field in the women's event is still dominated by Jamaican and American depth at the top. Sub-50 athletes from the Caribbean and North America have set the standard for the last decade. A European athlete running 50.44 with clear room to improve doesn't reshape that picture immediately, but it puts her in a different category than most European 400-meter runners have occupied. It puts her around 15th in the world this year, which sounds modest until you trace where she was 18 months ago. The trajectory matters more than the ranking right now. What comes next is the question worth watching. The major championships this summer will test whether this form holds across multiple rounds, heats, semis, and finals in compressed time. That's where the relay background might help her again, because relay runners are accustomed to running fast on short recovery. She's also shown she can run a controlled, balanced race without burning herself out in early rounds, which is the quiet advantage of someone who understands how to spread effort across a full lap. If she arrives at a global championship final with 50.44 already in her legs and that composure intact, she'll be in the conversation for a medal. That would have been a different sentence to write about her 2 years ago. It isn't anymore. The last image from this race is her at 250 meters on the back straight, Everyone else starting to tighten, and Bukowiecka still running upright, still fluid, still with something left. That's what 50.44 looks like before it happens.